talk a bit about overcoming that fear of rejection, embracing your true self. I'm going to pull some cards for the collective, and there'll be an opportunity for personal card readings as well. So if you would like a card pulled, you can let me know in the comments, and we'll get to as many people as we can in the next hour. Grab my pen and paper because you know how I roll. But anyways, welcome everyone. My name's Fola. If you're new here, welcome. It's nice to have you. We talk all things magic, ritual, the occult, and how it ties to how we're stepping into our personal truth, into our power, and really living a life of self-expression, of creativity, because that's what you are. You're a creative being. You are co-creating with spirit, the universe, however you want to identify the universal intelligence, and you are creating your life. You got to basically do and live life the way you feel called. And we all have that like internal pull to live life in a particular way. To me, this is like the true will. This is that aspect of self, that your divine blueprint. Your soul has this like purpose it's come here to fulfill. And this goes beyond just like a career or what you're bringing into the world in terms of, supporting your community in that, which I think is still a huge part, because we're all here to basically help with the world's natural evolution, this like repairing of itself. But there's also these sorts of like desires and parts of yourself, and this internal desire to express yourself and live life in your most authentic way. So whatever that might look like. Again, if you'd like cards pulled, there'll be a chance after we do the collective reading for you to get some cards personally. But this concept of fear and rejection, it's been showing up. A lot of you have been like reaching out to me. I've had conversations with clients about, hey, like I'm feeling this desire to step into this particular path. They feel like there's something inside bubbling up that wants to be created. They've been sitting with it either for a long time, or what I think is happening right now, I don't know about you, but the last week especially, these conversations and like the calling for me personally has been in this like almost new direction, which makes sense being that we have this blood moon, like lunar eclipse coming up this week. So, with eclipses, there's usually like new portals, new energies available to us to live life. I can tell you a lot of eclipse seasons, it's like I've started new jobs, things like this, so there's energy moving. So whatever that might be for you, maybe you're afraid to hear that call because of the fear of rejection. Maybe it's feeling a bit like, am I safe to do this? So we'll just ask the angels, your guides, your ancestors to come and be present during the readings today, this collective reading, for you to like really just, gather the nuggets that are going to be the most supportive for you on your journey. And as with any card reading, this is not about telling the future. That's not how I read cards. We use the cards, tarot, oracle cards, whatever it might be, in order to tap into, the messages or guidance of spirit. And the cards are symbols and methods in which spirit does that. So we can take that information, you take it and you make it your own. Okay. So take what resonates for you, trust that there's a reason you're here. And let's see what we can maybe become aware of around this overcoming the fear of rejection for the collective. So we have the 10 of Swords right off the bat. Hi, nose owner one. Hello. Nice to have you here. We have the Tower, which I've kind of put in the past position. I've kind of been using this like 3-card spread, I think, just intuitively. Oh, okay. And then 4 cards come out. We have the 2 of Cups. And we have the Page of Cups. I put that kind of at the bottom of the 10. Okay. So we'll just see what the cards say. Ooh, if I can hold them up. Oh my goodness. And to those of you who do read cards, or you're familiar and get your own intuitive messages, like, please, like, this is part of a community here, like share what shows up for you. you're allowed and welcome to like interpret it in your own way. Keep it to yourself if you'd like, whatever. But sometimes, you know, things might be sparking for you. I think it's welcome as long as you're being respectful, right? So the Ten of Swords. What I'm seeing with this is this like concept here of the forward movement. The forward movement of like self being like guided and using thought and the ability to think in order to create a reality, in order to create what you want to see happen, because your thoughts, that's what starts it off pretty much, is then you think something and then it can be in existence. But I see that as this like top sword, and then all the thoughts that kind of follow it, and all the other swords that are engaged. From what I'm seeing with these bottom five is like the spiritual guide, the spiritual I want to say armor or like support that's kind of backing how your thoughts are, backing or even inputting the ideas and the inspiration, the beliefs that you're holding. So this is like almost like that as above, so below, where there's yourself and the work that you're doing. And there's also this kind of like spiritual aspect that's supporting you. It's interesting because we have the Page of Cups, which I kind of just put beneath it. So this to me is just kind of showing this need for, in terms of especially this fear of rejection and this embracing of yourself, it's like maybe, you know, maybe you've done a lot of work around your thought process and how you're kind of contemplating life and how you want it to go. But there's still this part here that's like I want to say like the immature emotions, the underdeveloped part where maybe sometimes certain thoughts kind of get you ahead of yourself. Okay. And really what's coming out that I'm seeing here is that there's this like kind of crumbling of this way of perceiving yourself, a crumbling of the way you've been existing, so that you can come into more balance with the Two of Cups here, this emotional balance. You know, because it's interesting, you know, that we think with, say, it's the fear of rejection. Obviously, there's emotions tied to it, but there's a lot of like thought process that's taking place. And I think that's why there's a bit of this sense of, I guess, I feel like what I want to say here is like, go easy on yourself. Okay. Hi, Jay. Yeah, we'll do a reading for you after the collective. So, you know, instead of beating yourself up, like, you know, it would be like a kid, you know, like with a kid, for instance. We would never expect a child to have complete ownership and responsibility of their emotions and of their thoughts, right? Like that's something we learn and develop over time. So why would you be so hard on yourself? I guess is what I feel like I'm supposed to say to you. So that's okay. You guys, my pen died, so bear with me. Hi, Golden Lily. I see that you would also like cards pulled, so got your name there after Jay. And just, yeah, heads up, members get priority reading. So if that comes up at all, don't think I'm ignoring you. It's just bumping around. But you can always join the membership if you want by hitting the join button. So let's just clarify this Tower card for the collective. You know, the Tower, usually it's a Mars energy. It's a very like destructive sort of, but it's more like the destruction that happens so that the things can come that need to come, that want to come, so that what? We can bring the sense of balance, union. I believe the Two of Cups in the Thoth deck is known as love. You know, so there comes almost like a love of self that can take place here. So we have the Fool card with the Tower. So perhaps, on the Seven of Swords. So perhaps some of you have really been like on this spiritual journey, on this new path. And of course, you know, with anything new, it's like the unknown. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's going to play out like. You don't know if you're going to fall off the edge of the cliff. And that, I think, is a perfect way to describe the fear of rejection, as we don't know what, and it's almost like tied to a fear of failure, so to speak, right? You could fall off the cliff and just like completely be in destructive mode, not survive that. Okay. That's the risk that we all take when we start any type of journey, the hero's journey. And a part of the hero's journey is to have these thoughts and experiences of the adversary, the parts that, or the people, the thoughts, the uh, bumps along the path that are going to make us want to turn around and return back home. Okay. But like, you can't really return back home because I feel like this is just seem like it's the home, the tower, the place that felt safe and comfortable. It's like it doesn't really exist anymore. So this fear of rejection that may be holding some of you from taking the leap off the cliff, really stepping onto the next part of your journey. It's like if you have to just do it. Like you just have to trust you're going to become the developed individual and have the mastery of thoughts and the mastery of emotions in time, the more you continue to explore. We have the Seven of Swords, which is making me think instantly of Netzach, which is like one of the spears on the Tree of Life. And that one is ruled by Venus, 1111. Okay. So with Venus, Venus is going retrograde or has gone retrograde as well. I'm not too sure how long it's going to be lasting. If anyone knows, feel free to let me know in the comments. But I feel like this is going to be one of those times. Again, I'm hearing like love again with this concept of the self-love and the thoughts of love. Because when we reject ourselves, right, if we aren't really fully loving and accepting self, then of course people around us will reject us. They'll abandon, if you're abandoning yourself, etc., right? Whatever you see experienced in your external world is part of what's going to happen on the internal world. Oh, you have the Knight of Cups underneath. So that's bonus. Okay. I don't know why I felt like I had to look at that. Okay. I like how I've kind of laid these out, but we're going to pull maybe some of these chakra cards. It's like the Fool and then the Page of Cups to the Knight of Cups. And the Knight now is on a horse. The Knight has like gained a bit of this like rulership, right? But is still in the development, still in the experience of learning. So we have the yellow solar plexus card with fierce. We have the cave card, the root chakra. So it's like these kind of place this energy of the root and the solar plexus being kind of like your sun solar space in your abdomen. These two are going to be very potent for you over this next, like, I guess maybe I want to say like the Venus retrograde or whatever this Venus energy is, where you're in the place of wanting to transform these spheres. This is the solar plexus, makes me think of the confidence and the self-love, the sort of like power that you hold, this burning desire inside of you. It's like not giving up, okay? And with this, with the cave energy, with this root, like for some of you, I'm kind of hearing that like perhaps the fear of rejection, it's coming because there's people, you know, I say this often on the channel, but it's like rejection is God's protection. And so I feel like there's actually I wanted to say a lot, so I don't know how many of you, but maybe for some of you, it could be that there are certain relationships in your life, certain interactions where you're really experiencing this rejection. And I feel like Spirit's like, why do you keep putting yourself in that scenario? Like you need to stop that because, and kind of be in this cave shamanic self exploration, okay? Being in this place so that you can keep yourself away from the, like, I want to say the pain of other people that are kind of mirroring the things for you, but also you've outgrown a lot of those relationships. That's like the old structure, the old way of being. And here you are now evolved and moving through. So we're gonna ask for some cards around like kind of like just this process, like what is it that maybe can be the most helpful for you besides calling in energy into the solar plexus, calling in that rooted, grounded energy and stability in the root. What else could there be to kind of just, let's pull one of these first. Yeah, like, oh, how do I want to word that? Well, let's see what the cards say. Sometimes I don't need to talk so much, you know? But yeah, how's your week been, folks? You can let me know in the comments if you like. Where are you finding that solar plexus, or sorry, the lunar eclipse energy upcoming, or that full moon? I saw the moon today. It just like was so large in the daytime sky. So a client I was meeting this morning for like business coaching, it's just some of the stuff that I've been stepping more into. Well, we were talking about the concept of the decision, right? And the power of what happens when we just decide. She was sharing a story that, well, the card itself says indecision, if you cannot read that. It says, I use my intuition in all aspects of life. Indecision. And that can hold us, but what's the opposite of that? The decision to want something and to have something. So maybe, like I said, many of you could be feeling this pull to create something or to step onto maybe a holistic healing business or path, to share your abilities, your gifts with other people, to start, sharing your creative pursuits, or, those art projects, music projects that you've been building, whatever it might be. You're feeling this like desire that it's time to step into that more, leave the old kind of way of being. And yet you're like, well, how come it's not happening? These fears of rejection and, whatever it might be. But you know what it is? It's because of the indecision. And what we do is we simply just decide. Like, again, there's a lot of swords on here, that thought thing. You have to think, is this what I want? And she shared an example of a friend of hers who, basically made a decision to increase their pricing for their product sessions. And it was quite a big jump of pricing, not like a gradual increase. She was just like, no, this is what it is. It's still cheaper than what some other people in the city are offering it at, and so forth. That was her reasoning. And this woman shared it out to, her clients, her community. And some people got upset and they left, and she felt so sure. She almost had this like fierce energy initially. But if any of you have run a business, you know how this can be, where sometimes then you're like, oh, like, did I make the right choice? Was that the right decision? And she started kind of like, oh, I think, she was telling this client of mine, maybe I should go back to the old pricing. And my client's like, well, no, like, no, don't, right? Like, you can't do that. And so she's like, okay, I'm committed. I decide this is it. Doesn't matter what anything else is going on around, especially the illusion of finances. That's a huge one, I can say, for my own experience, where it's like, well, I made a lot of money. For me, I used to be a psych nurse, right? That to me is like a pretty decent job. Overtime, you can work 24/7, like, and to leave the stability of that was my tower. That was my like structure, my system I'd created as a fortress of stability and protection. To leave that, to burn it down, and then to be left in situations where the universe is testing to see, is that really what you want? Like, you sure that's what, And anyways, with that particular example I was giving, the woman said, like, after a month, it kind of got quiet. People left because of the increase in her pricing. But after a month, a lot of those old clients that left came back. They were like, actually, I still want to see you. I need you to do the thing you do. And they were willing to pay. So this indecision aspect, the thought aspect of what you want and what you don't want, this is going to be like critical for overcoming this fear of rejection. You need to stop, I guess, having the fear of, is this going to work? And I'm not going to say the fear is going to be completely gone, but as you continue to develop from this page to the night, from this like kind of like evolution of your ability to handle what's showing up, the energy, emotions, then you're going to be able to step more fully into the power that you hold, this fierceness. And also, the beautiful thing is, everything's going to start to work in the path and the way that you are feeling led. Like, I can't even tell you guys what's happening in the last week, where it's like, I had to, and this is kind of what I wanted to bring more to this channel, is this idea that, okay, I'm showing up in a particular way, but it's feeling like it's dying. And I've had to let it die even though, leaving psych nursing, I had to let that die. Starting my own like private practice as a therapist, kind of mixed with the spiritual, energy-based, plant medicine, fun stuff. All of that has since had to come to a natural conclusion, but it's not even over. It's just that it's evolved, and allowing it to evolve naturally and listen to that internal guidance that's like, well, there is something more. And I love talking about business. I love hearing about people's dreams and the things that they are aspiring to create, whatever it might be. And how then do they do that? And there's strategies in which you can do it. There are energetic shifts and thought patterns and beliefs that need to change. And there's magic, ritual that we can do to get the universe to back you more, right? So that's a bit of the stuff that I do with folks. That's what I've been doing in my own life. And I can tell you, I don't know how much ritual you do. Maybe you're new to it, but perhaps this full moon might be a great time. This at the end of this week, Thursday, Friday, for you to sit down and just meditate and ask the universe to show you, okay, can you help me to be more clear on my decision making and what it is I actually want? Okay, and prioritizing those things. Ooh, so I think that's it for the collective reading. I feel like that's a lot. We'll get to the personal readings here. But yeah, we're just going to ask those guides, those ancestors and beings to support you all, wherever it is that you're on your journey, to bring the right people, the right opportunities, the things that really light you up and like add to that juiciness of life, that joy and pleasure, for all those things, the abundance around that, because where you follow joy, then money follows, right? It doesn't go money first, then joy. It's like you have to be in like a excited, that like, I just think of that little girl with the cotton candy, that GIF or whatever. And she's like, like so excited. It's like when we can be in this blissful, joyful energy, that doesn't mean you're not going to ever just be like never sad or have difficult days. That's part of the hero's journey again. But you learn to transmute it. That's the magic, transmuting it, working through it, because it's coming up for a reason, to make you better, I guess, at what it is that you want to bring into the world. So all those guides and supports for you, helping you with that as you go through this next few weeks. And whatever it is you're stepping into this week with this new this eclipse season. Whew. Okay, well, let's pull some cards. We got Jay first. If anyone else is just joining in, I see people coming and going. If you want private or personal cards pulled, you can let me know in the comments, and we'll see what it is. Okay, I really like these cards, so I'm going to just stick with them right now. I think they're called like the Golden Medieval deck or Golden Tarot or something. Let's see, Jay. What wants to show up for you, especially in terms of this rejection, if there's anything there for Jay. Thank you, guys. So I'm just like feeling this, like my legs were crossed and I just felt like this instant need to like uncross at my ankles. Like, so there's something in the root chakra. I feel something about the groundedness. You have the 5 of Pentacles, and then you have the 6 of Wands in reverse, if that matters. Like, some don't really read reverse. Sometimes I do, it depends. But you have that kind of like in that past position. Ooh, and you have the Hangman. It was also, yeah, it was also in reverse. Which I'm going to leave it like that because it looks kind of interesting the way it is. So you have Earth, Fire, Water. 5, 6, and 12. I'm just going to show you these. So Jay, there's like something here about the need for this groundedness. Okay, something that like I'm feeling a lot, like I don't know if it's like an anger then that maybe is like showing up for you, that kind of like wants to be transformed, transmuted. Okay. And I think a lot of this kind of is tied, okay, how do I want to word this? Like I sometimes like say, okay, I know I've had this happen. It's like you make plans with someone and then they like cancel it on you. they cancel because of whatever reason, you know, and it leaves you feeling a bit of like, "Ugh." There's something here. I don't know if this resonates or not for you. You can let me know, but it feels like that energy is kind of being called to be explored, is what I want to say. And a way that you could probably do this is to find this groundedness, and like a groundedness even in the, like, by connecting to the earth. Let me rephrase that. But also like this groundedness in like just feeling like your anger, the discomfort of that fiery energy. You have the Six of Wands in reverse, and when I think of the six, I think of the Tiferet space, that heart space. It's like the center of the pillar, okay? The five being the right shoulder on the tree of life. So there's like this kind of, maybe I invite you to even just be aware of that right shoulder and your chest right now, your heart space, and imagine like a path going between those two. I'm just trying to see what that path is. I think it might be, well, I can't see it from here. But just tuning into those places, that Mars and that Sun. So again, we have like a lot of like this energy like that. Whereas the Hangman is bringing in this watery element, but it's in reverse. And like, I just want to show you what it looks like when the card's like upside down. Like, isn't it? It's kind of eerie, I guess, how nature seems. It looks like the tree almost still looks like it's got like its greenery up here, and these are the roots now. Do you know what I mean by that? So, like, your perspective might be able to shift with the earth, where you're going to feel a bit more of this grounded ability to like move or process whatever this anger is. If you are someone that likes water, it might help because this hangman energy is closely related to the element of water. Um, we're going to pull one of these chakra cards. I also am just noticing how like his shirt is kind of open at the chest. So, it might be like uncomfortable. It might be uncomfortable with shedding the light and looking at the truth of the situation. If this is a particular person that continually is rejecting you, like, like especially if it's like someone that you're dating, or like, I don't know, if it's like a parent or something, it's like you have to come to the truth of the matter and have a conversation about it, because the blue throat chakra, and it's going to lead probably to this like open vulnerability in your heart space where you're having to surrender to whatever might be showing up about like pretty much the truth of what they might say that could lead to a bigger sense of that rejection. Okay. But I'm not going to just end with like, hopefully, let's go with this deck. Let's see what this deck says is like a kind of like a finalized, what this could look like for you. What's on the other side of all this healing, as you overcome this fear of rejection, overcome this anger of the rejection. We'll do this one. Ooh, manifestation. Okay, well, you have the grieving card too, I just want to say, but I'm just going to pick one. But that makes sense to me because it's, again, there's like grieving. They'll be grieving around the loss, around that rejection, around the hurt, that you probably, it's like inevitable. You intuit it anyway. That's why we've kind of just, maybe you've kept it. But this manifestation, like all the possibilities of the things. I love how she's standing in front. It looks like a blood moon to me. Maybe it could be a bit more red, but it's definitely a moon, and she is tapped into that above and below, and she's bringing from the above down into the earth, we could say, and tapped into the magical ability to create the life that she wants. Because I like how you had the Five of Pentacles there. To me, it was just such a like balanced earth. That's how I feel like it's just balanced for whatever reason, the way the cards are laid out. So you have this ability for manifesting and turning like that stuff that's uncomfortable, transmuting it into the thing that you want. And you can also, as you grieve the loss of whatever, draw and imagine it, especially with the full moon, imagining it just being like and you can intend with your like voice, like I take that energy of what's been lost and I make it into whatever XYZ, okay, into brightening the path of my future where I feel connected and belonged and like supported and loved with myself, most importantly, and with others. So whatever that might be for you, Jay, inviting you to tap into that, okay? I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to speak on that. So, thanks for being here. So again, to those of you just showing up, coming and going, if you'd like cards pulled, you can let me know in the comments. If you missed the collective reading, you might want to go back once this whole live is complete, and you can watch the first, like, what was it, like 20 minutes or so of the collective reading. But yeah, thank you all for being here. You can feel free to subscribe, join the membership if you'd like. You can check out any of the links below. And yeah, I do this, like, work with people one-on-one. If you're feeling like it's the time or a call to step into your passion, into this life that you desire, that's just filled with joy and abundance, maybe you want to like hop on a call with me, a soul alchemy session, and we can, yeah, see what else is possible. Yeah. So, I appreciate you all. I like doing this stuff. It's fun. Oh, hi. Yeah, thanks, Jay. Yeah, thank you. Okay, Golden Lily. Let's see. You guys, you know what's funny too? Like, some of you get readings like every week, and I literally don't even know. I can't recall what I've said. So, this is interesting. I guess it's better that way. Okay, Golden Lily. Ooh, the Emperor. So we got a Mars fire energy again. I guess, yeah, well, it's Aries, but Mars. Ooh, we got the Sun. Wow, that's fascinating. You both had the cards, like, first card was like a Mars, because Aries is like ruled by Mars, and now you have the Sun, which Tiferet was the son of the Six of Wands, right? That, I just want to speak that. And then the Ace of Swords. So definitely this thought pattern experience, Golden Lily, of you kind of like, oh, thanks, Jay. Appreciate that. I always receive your tips, your, what do they call them? Supers or whatever. Your comments, your engagement. So yeah, many blessings tenfold to you. How do I want to say this? You know, it's coming to the solstice, Golden Lily. And in all three of these images, I'm seeing the like greenery in the back, the greenery and lushness here. Beautiful sun card with all its like sunny golden flowers, which I don't know if you plant sunflowers or have the ability to. That actually might be something really, I think, a reminder for you. Okay, Golden Lily. And then here we have them down here. What I'm getting with this, it's like, I think maybe at this point though, you've kind of like over obsessed, Golden Lily, with like focusing on the material world, the things like around you. Okay, like how much money is in my bank account, how much of this physical thing is there or not. But in this like end, I feel like what's happening for you is this like transcendence of the focus of your thoughts on the physical. Because what happens then is you start to realize your mastery of the physical world. Doesn't matter what is showing up there. Because does that make sense? Like you kind of like know your power. And I want to say that because of this like emperor who is seated on this throne, holding the scepter and orb, both signs of dominion over the earth, power, etc., and feet on the black and white checkers, you know, like the masonry, Freemasons kind of symbol, occult symbol of like that left, right, as above, so below, polarity, dichotomy kind of experience. Same with the pillars being on both sides, though they're both white or gray or whatever color they are. So there's something here about you kind of having this mastery of thought to just point your thoughts to like spirit, okay? Golden Lily. I love how these angels are kind of like worshiping the sun, not the flowers on the earth. They're worshiping the source. You know, and that could be a thing too, like having dating an Aries. It's like they have that focused track mind and they do the things and they get shit done, right? And that's great because we need that as well. But it's also like, hey, what's beyond that physical realm? What is it that's like that spiritual energy? And if we think about Aries coming around the solstice of springtime, that's blooming, of the equinox, of awakening, of that solar light, you know, it's like, it's because of that light that all the plants get to grow and all the abundance comes through. And we're in like, do you know what I mean by that? Anyways, okay. Let's see what the chakra cards say, Golden Lily. Oh, thank you, Jay. Yeah. Oh, my hair. Finally have it again. These braids, I tell you. Okay, let's see. What's one of these chakra cards for Golden Lily? And as I'm doing this, I'm seeing the blue eagle on the shield on the floor. I don't know if that has something to do with like a protection for you, you know, but it's interesting because like the shield's down. He's not holding the shield. He's only holding his scepter and the orb. It's like he knows like he's like in like protected. He's protected, right? Like he doesn't have to be standing there holding the sword. It's making me think of like this time I hosted a like, or kind of like facilitated hosting and got this like group of amazing other Reiki practitioners. And we went to go and just share Reiki on the streets here. And we set up and we ended up like accidentally, we didn't know, like they didn't book the space, but there's like a group of like harm reduction volunteers that would go. They set up there, I guess, every Friday and they hand out, you know, the harm reduction supplies and stuff so people can use safely. There was food and all this stuff. And so we ended up having a lot of these like folks showing up who, you know, maybe less fortunate than others, living in some difficult situations, living on the street and so forth. And there was one particular like person who came, this younger woman, she had a bat. She literally had like a baseball bat with her. You know, it was like broad daylight, and, you know, but this was the reality of her situation that she was perceiving, you know, and whatever's going on in order to feel safe. And it was like, I still like thinking about this because I'm like, it was so like fucking cool that she was willing to put down the baseball bat and she was open to receiving Reiki from one of the practitioners and had her eyes closed. Like she felt safe in the midst of these other people, you know, not like being alone on the street. So maybe there's something there for you. Maybe there's something there that's like going to help you with feeling a bit more safe, Golden Lily, is if you can like connect with the right people. And then from there, you'll be able to trust that you don't need to carry a weapon. You don't need to carry a shield. Focusing your thoughts and your vision, inner vision, or your eye towards spirit as that provision. And this is going to be in this case, like very supportive with your blooming, you know, and I liken this here to the sunflowers because these sunflowers aren't standing alone. They're like with others, right? There's something there, Golden Lily, golden, like I like that, that I think can really help you remember that safety and that connection to the divine. I know I do when I'm with like, say, my sisterhood group. Every time we gather, it's like I'm just like reminded of the power of like women together, when we feel safe with each other, when we like, you know, all this stuff. So whatever that might be, tapping into that or being open to receiving it. And that may come for you as I see with this spring equinox here coming up and the shift into Aries itself. Okay. Whew, I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say. Thanks for being here, Golden Lily. Yeah. You can let me know if that resonates or not. Hi, Tahira. Ooh, nice to see you. Would you like cards pulled? Ooh, I have to come back and watch the collective reading. Yeah, you're welcome, Golden Lily. But yeah, if Tahira, you'd like cards pulled, anyone else joining? Because I see there's people are on here. You're just lurking, people. You're lurking. You're allowed to lurk. I don't care. All energy, I feel, is welcome. So, okay, Tiara, let's pull some cards. Whoo! Overcoming fear of rejection. I was about to say overcoming rejection, which is interesting. The fear of the rejection is probably more potent than actually being rejected. Like, to hear, if you think about all the times in your life where you've actually just been told no, like that probably was easier than just sitting in the shadows thinking they're gonna probably say no. You know, when I like that recent interview for the occult cast that I did with my teacher / mentor Naha, I had put that off for like months. Paul's like, did you ask Naha yet? Did you ask her? Did you ask her? I asked like what 3 different people that I know through her, and they've all been on the podcast, occult cast, before I even got her on, because I was like so scared of being rejected. I was so scared of hearing no from her. Ugh, it was horrible. And then finally, you guys, I had to just like, I was just like, you know what? Either I'm going to sit with this, or I'm going to like forever and never know, or I'm just going to do it and get it over with. But, you know, obviously we know what happened because she did it. Anyways, okay, dear. Agreeing 100%. The unknown is much worse. Knowing whether it's yes or no. You know, and I had like an aunt, God rest her soul, not like biological aunt, but like family friend aunt. And she was the most kind, loving person, just so like joyful. I, you know, like thinking about, oh, I can't, like, I don't feel like I ever knew anyone that cheerful, especially like no one that, you know, I know people in the spiritual world who are like, yeah, love and light and like whatever, but like someone who just was like so human, genuine. And her, she would say like, you know, there's only 2 answers to a question. Because like there were times where I wanted to like ask for something, and she'd be like, just speak it up, right? And she's like, either it's going to be a yes or it's going to be a no. Those are the 2 main things that we fear, pretty much. We can fear the yes as much as the no. So I don't know why I'm saying this all for you to hear it, but maybe there's like something you're feeling like you need to like just ask or do, and you're kind of like sitting with that energy. Deepika, hi, Deepika. Nice to have you here. If you'd like oh, I think you maybe wrote that too. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm looking at 2 screens now for whatever reason. I learned my fears usually unjustified. Yeah, okay. That makes sense to hear. Deepika, yes, do cards for you too. Yeah, these are kind of readings on the fear of rejection, but it will be whatever it needs to be. So thanks for being here. I appreciate your energy comment. Okay, Tahira, we have the 4 of Swords. And then we have the Magician. Oh, that Sun card again. I love it. Ooh, what's this? Oh, you got 2 here. We have the 8 of Swords and the 9 of Wands. So it's interesting. There's like a duplication happening here is what I'm seeing. So this came first, Tahira, this 4 of Swords energy. And then we have the 8 of Swords. And so what I'm seeing with this is almost this like duplication of what's possible for you when you can, like, I'm going to say, overcome whatever this fear is of the person saying no, or the opportunity not working out for you. You have the Magician card, and this to me is like, this is like the you energy of what's possible. You are the one that kind of like converts the 4 into the 8 based on what I said in the collective reading, the decisions. But there's also something about the 9 of Wands here that I'm sensing with that like womb space energy, like your intuition, the place of like your center of gravity that, like, I want to say is fortified. Partly because of the way I'm seeing the cards or the wands kind of arranged in this sort of stacked position. Let's pull one of these. There's something about these roses too Like, it's like, I don't know what that is. What is that? There's something about this rose energy that's going to be like duplicating things for you. Maybe you have a better sense of what this is, and maybe I'll pull a card on it, but like I don't know why that's point. It's like, like you can do magic, you can do mindset work, you can work on all these elements that are on the table, right? And like at the forefront of like a spiritual practice or a psychological, like therapeutic practice. But there is like this, like I love how the hand is down pointing to the roses, because it's almost like a sleight of hand happening where it's like, I'm doing the magic and all the things are great, but like over here is like the secret element that's going to make all of this become like into a reality. Okay, that's how I want to describe that. You all, well, maybe you don't all know how I read cards here, but like this is how it like makes sense. Not you. I think you're gonna have to ask spirit, Tahira, for what that rose is, because I'm seeing the sun now with the spirit card. It's like this is spirit behind you, the sun, the life force energy. Maybe during this eclipse, like full moon coming up this Thursday, Friday, it's a time for you to set that as an intention. Um, and what I'm just hearing now is like there's like a secret weapon that you can use with overcoming any fears of rejection, or anything that's like, and you might actually want to bring, if you can, bring roses into a ritual, or at least bring them into your house on for this like week, because I feel like there's something about that. I'm not like really not sure, and I guess maybe it's not for me to know. That's for you to have your own experience, right? This is ultimately what it is. But like spirit, I feel is going to really, and you can get dried rose herb. You can drink things like this. I feel like maybe it's just the plant of the rose wanting to connect with you, and spirit connecting there, which would make sense with the 9 of Wands in the womb, because the rose, the womb, the chalice, where like Mary Magdalene, all that stuff is kind of like intersect. And I love how it's actually a female magician in this card, is what I'm seeing. I don't know. Looks like a woman to me compared to the man, which it usually is. So, no, whatever. Okay. Let's see. Hi, Diana. Nice to have you join. Diana Boss. If you like cards pulled, you can let me know. Okay, Terry, yes. It makes sense to me with all the transitions happening right now. Okay. I think the secret weapon is my newfound sense of trusting and really seeing everything as happening for my benefit. I will meditate on the rose, as I'm not sure. Like there'll be something there, like spirit will speak to you through you. And you could ask the rose, like, what is this duplication magic? How do I take what I have and make it double? And, from there, 4 times more to 8 times more to 16 times more, like that whole Fibonacci sequence, which is kind of also tied to a bit of the sacred geometry of the rose, or these plants, or like nature. That all in itself is like a magical creative potential. I think that's all I need to say about it. I don't know. I want to know how to do that. Oh, Deepika, I didn't pull cards for you yet, so you're next. Stay tuned. Okay, but I'm just gonna pull one of these for you to hear, and let's just see. You said I want to know how to do that. Let's just see what this card says. And then Deepika will get to you, so you didn't miss anything. Well, what does that mean, multiplying? Wait, does that mean multiplying? Yeah, like how do you multiply? You have purpose and relationships. So like if you focus on your purpose, your relationships will double. If you focus on whatever the case might be, like this is what the rose is, like this power inside of the opening. We had bloom in the last reading, but this opening of the petals and unfolding of self. What does it say? I know what I am here to do. and I am attracted to those people who serve my higher good. Okay. Anaya Viva la Vida. You are the rose, Tahira. I like that. That's beautiful. Yes, exactly. How do I multiply? I'm exhausted. I've been up for 3 days working on the court documents. Yeah. I'm sorry that it's been so much work, you know. Spirit has you. And I wonder then who can serve you? What relationships or people or, you know, things can you call in for this time as you work through, I guess, in the way this is the purpose right now, you know, beyond the other things that you're hoping to create. What are those people or places that you can call to for support, even non-physical? Okay. Yeah. You got this. Ugh, sometimes though we gotta do like hard work, you guys. Like the magician's not standing there doing nothing. Like the magician has to like put in the work. Well, that's interesting. The Three of Swords were also, but you have to like, you know, there's things you gotta do. This is anything. You want to start a business, or you want to, you know, go to school and become a doctor, a lawyer, I don't know, whatever, tech thing, something or other. Like anything that's been created required work. The light bulb, right? How many times did Edison fail at that? Or I don't know. Edison, Tesla, Nikola Tesla, whoever or whatever. Anyways, thanks for being here, Tahira. Yeah. Oh, those guides are there. Spirit's with you. How does the rose even grow, you know? Like, because it follows a magical blueprint that it's been set out to, just like you are. There's a blueprint for everything. Okay, Deepika. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Yeah, you're welcome. You obviously know. Reach out if you need to. Okay, Deepika. Let's see the cards. Ooh, the Queen of Swords. Look at all this sword energy, you guys. This is exactly... Okay, I'm going to just put those back. There's a 10 of Swords on top. That's funny. Let's just see. Queen of Swords, Deepika. It's interesting because, like, in this deck, the Queen of Swords has this, like, golden gown on, but it's like almost looks like she's, like, the earth. Man, there's so much about the element of earth today, too. It's just funny because the airy swords, like, you know, it's kind of in a way... And you have the Page of Swords here. So, I don't know, do you have a child, Deepika? Or is there, like, a younger sibling, like, maybe a younger version? Or maybe it's your inner child. I feel like it's, like, a child. Or if you, I don't know if you, like, lost something like that. You have the Nine of Swords. You have the Strength card. The Eight of Cups came out too. Maybe I'll just leave that. Let's just see. And you don't have to say anything about your own personal experience, but I'm like kind of getting this like young energy here, like, you know, no, I'm young. Okay. Well, like, and so maybe this is like you, but like, and again, you know, I see these court cards or whatever as these like evolutions of an individual, you know, and like this is kind of like the idealized aspect of self, you know. We all have like a version of ourselves that we want to be. And it's interesting because, you know, when we're however old, we all have that inner child. We all have those parts of ourselves that went through certain experiences. I want to say certain attacks with the Nine of Swords. You know, those daggers that have like been thrown at you, those daggers that have been like people have tried to stab your back with, etc., etc. But it's interesting because even though the way I have it laid out here, it's like the swords are kind of like going up towards the queen, but both the page and the queen are holding swords almost as a form of like of protection, because the difference between their swords and the Nine of Swords is that their swords have a glow to them. You may or may not see that very well, but to me that just shows there's like a divine energy influencing the protectiveness of that dagger, of the thought that you hold. There's something about this woman's hands too, and how she's holding her belly, almost like the way she's kind of caressing that womb space. So something I'd say for you, Deepika, is like, how do you like self-care during this time? How do you like take a moment's pause, reflect on those daggers, so to speak, that maybe others are trying to put at you, and like tap into what the strength of the queen is. And that's the card you got here too, is the strength card, that fiery, like Leo energy, the woman who's not afraid to, hold the lion by its mouth, right? And do whatever she needs to, whether she's closing the lion's mouth or opening it to take a wider look. There's something about that wider look that might even be tied towards the inner child aspect, Deepika. Like, so if you have explored inner child work or not, to heal some of those stories, some of the thoughts and things. I guess around this, probably the fear of rejection. If you're like, maybe you're wanting to like open up relationship or do certain things in your life, but there's a bit of this uncertainty, you have to have like the courage of the lion to like move into that place. Okay. And also, it takes courage to look at the heart and look at the wounding, to look at those. The word that's coming to me is like the revision, which someone just shared in another group I'm in. They're like, oh, have you ever done a revision? I still haven't heard from them about what they meant by that. But when I heard it, I was thinking like recapitulation. In the shamanic work, we like do, these long periods of recapitulating thoughts and removing pretty much certain thoughts and beliefs that we've held for a long time. So that might be something that interests you, is how can you recapitulate, go back, revise, and create new story. And there's ways to do that. I trust that you can find it. You have the 8 of Cups. So this is going to like open up the emotional aspect of like your magic, is what I want to say. And I feel like that's fitting because I'm seeing the words of embracing your true self, like wakening up to the magic that is the 8, the infinity symbol, which I'm pretty sure someone could tell me otherwise, but I'm pretty sure the strength card in the regular tarot, she has that infinity symbol over her head. Pretty sure. And it's kind of like a representation of the same infinity that the magician has, which is now back in the deck. But 8 being that like mercurial energy. So this Mercury retrograde that's coming up this week as well, this is probably a potent time for you to go into the subconscious, into the emotions of these past experiences around the rejection. I mean, I know, like, I have rejection stories from when I was like 14, 15, 16, probably earlier than that. So there's things that have happened. And if that's even you and a parent, rejection stuff, then that would make sense, being those 2 cards. So let's just pull one of these for you, Deepika, and then I don't know if anyone else is pulling, or I don't think anyone else has asked for a card. What time is it? Yeah, I'm probably going to be done, honestly. Go hang out with my child. We have the journey card here, Deepika. So this is like part of your journey. This is part of the experience of life. You have your whole life ahead of you. Okay. We all do. Doesn't matter how old you are. Like, seriously, it's never too late to start this healing process. It's never too late to, embrace your true self and live the life that you want. And, trust that it's all part of the purpose. Everything is going to be interconnected, no matter where you're going or what you're focusing on at this point in time in your life. Okay. About my career, please. I'm preparing for an exam and have an exam. Oh, you should have told me that before I pulled cards for you. I mean, you're doing an exam, so I don't really know what you want me to tell you about your career, but if you want like a private reading, you could head to the link in my in the description. And if not, like next week I'll be back on. But I think I'm gonna call it quits here because it's on the hour. But I'll just call those guides, your ancestors, to just, shed the light as you come onto this full moon to give you the clarity around whatever maybe specific questions you're having around your career, but if you're kind of, it sounds like you're already on the path towards the thing if you have an exam. And maybe you missed what I said before, but it's never too late to make changes, right? It's never too late. And part of the journey, I know for me, I think for many of you here, I know there's some of you we've talked one-on-one, and you too are making that jump from a career that you've dedicated your money and your time and your energy to something else. And that's a whole other thing because, especially culturally and people in society have certain thoughts about it, etc. But it's never too late. You got to listen to your heart. Okay, Deepika? But yeah, if you want a private reading to go into more of that stuff, you can check out the links below. I think I have on my website like $25 card readings that are like audio recordings. It's like, 15, 20 minutes depending, and we can go into more specifics about what's going on for you. And then I also have like actual Zoom call virtual sessions where we can like have a kind of coaching conversation and pull cards. So if that's something that interests you, I invite you to check that out. Can kind of go into a bit more depth. I would say it's a bit more energetically processing than these, because I'm like tapping into your energy. It's a bit more free because we're in a private space to do that. Okay. Anyways, I think that's it. Thanks everyone for coming here. As I mentioned, maybe I'll say it again. Obviously, there's links in the description if you want to check out my book, The 72 Names of God, Magical Grimoire. The link's in the description to get your copy and see how that supports you. If you want to book a soul alchemy session or a reading with me one-on-one, you can also check that in the description below. And I do these readings like once a week or so. In the community membership, there's more readings and other stuff coming to the front. And then there's also going to be at the end of the month a little like 5-day challenge. I don't know what that noise is. You hear it? That's weird. Ooh, creepy. Anyway, something's talking. But at the end of the month, I'm going to have a 5-day challenge of like overcoming that fear of being seen. How do you step onto your path? And that's going to be in the community membership. So if you want to join that and be a part of that conversation and move through the blocks, start to see yourself as your like true, authentic, like just brilliant sun that you are. That might be something you want to check out. I'll be sharing more details about that in the near future as well. So yeah, you heard coughing. I think that was my kid. But yeah, there's like weird maybe it's the candle. I think it's the candle and the wax. There's always something, you guys. Anyway, okay. Well, you take care and have a great evening. Bye.